What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Fabrication 101 YouTube channel. It is great to have you guys back in the shop with me today. As you can see, hopefully from the intro, whoa, got a little dizzy there, that I got my tube fender flare started, and I went ahead and got it all cleaned up. It did work just a hair, but only just a little bit, about a 1/16 of an inch across this whole thing. So not a whole lot that I had to deal with. I was able to get it pretty straight. The fender does need to pull out just a little bit more, but I think that'll be okay. The next thing that I need to work on here is the 1-inch round tube that I'm going to do on this. I want to have it pop out and down about 3 inches at about a 45-degree angle. Come forward, it'll come backwards a little bit here and then come back to the bottom corner here. So we'll get some material cut, get the tubing bender fired up, and see if we can make something work. So this is my JD Squared Model 4 tubing bender. I've had this thing for, god dang, gotta be getting close to 20 years now. I've been a lot of tube with this thing. Works great, pretty reliable, and I've got tons of experience with it. So first bend done, which is just gonna be a 90-degree bend right from the end of the tube. It should create the end of my fender where it's gonna kick up here into the corner. Alright, so that tube will kind of sit up about like that, I think. Now I just gotta figure out how far forward I want to bring it before I make my bend. So, one good thing to always hang on to is messed up bends, and this is one off of something else. Really, I don't even remember what it was for, but it has my bend mark on it, so it gives me a good idea so I can figure out where I want to start my bend. And I still want to have it come forward a little bit here. So it looks like right about here is going to give me what I want, I think. So we'll put a mark on the side of the fender flare, and then we'll use that to figure out how far forward we want to come. I know I want it to bend right even with the edge, so I can just measure from this edge to here and then transfer that to my tube over here. So it looks like we are 35.5 inches from the end of there. So if I can just transfer that to my... So one thing, if I can take my tube and line it up square with the edge of my table, move my table a little bit, I can use the table as a straight guide to measure against. So I can just measure off the edge of the table out to wherever 35.5 is. Should be right about there. Right there. And this is one I'm going to go ahead and carry that mark all the way around the tube, just to make it hopefully as accurate as I can get it to be. So start here Work our way around. Alright, this next bend is a little bit more tricky because it's the next bend is not on the same plane as my first bend. It's twisted. So what I've done is I've set a little protractor up here that tells me how much my tubing bender is leaning, because I know it doesn't sit flat. It's about 2 degrees. And then I put it down here and I lean the tube to 45 plus the about 2 degrees. So it should give my tube a kick up after the bend, so it matches the angle I want. So let's give it a shot, see if it works out. Alright, let's see how this fits. So, if I hold it up kind of like this, see, I line up the end where I want it, about like that. It bends, looks like I might have been a little, well, no, angle's off a little bit. Pretty close, might be a little over bent, I'll have to look at that. Shouldn't be too much to adjust. Other than that, I think it's coming along pretty good. If you look from the side here, you can see that it's pretty level with the tubes underneath. If we come up here, you can see that it kind of does what I want it to do. Alright, so you can see my angle's kicked out just a little bit. That's nothing I can't deal with once it's all figured out. I think it'll be pretty good. So far I'm pretty pleased with it. Like I said, now I just got to figure out how to mark this bend here. The bend is actually the same angle as up here. What do they call it? A complementary angle, because it just comes out the same direction. I just got to figure out how far in to twist it and how far up to make it. So to do that, I'm going to use this my little digital angle guy here to try and measure how far back I need to kick it. And it looks like well, I turn it on. It's about 62 degrees. Probably work anywhere near where I need to be. I got to bend it to 60 degrees, which on this bender it's about 81 degrees on the mark here. So. Well, it looks like my bend angle is right, but I didn't have it twisted quite the right way, because right now if I put it up here, even if I hold it loose, you can see that it kind of bends inside the fender. I'm going to try and twist it a little bit, because I think my height is actually where I want to be. So I might try and twist this a little bit more manually by force and see if I can make it fit. All right, I've got it clamped nice and tight. If I pull here, it should twist, and when you do this kind of stuff, you can feel the tube move. I don't know how far I need to go, but we'll bend it a little bit. It's always easier to add bend than it is to try and take bend out. So oh, I can feel it moving. I felt it move. I don't know if it was enough. But we'll go a little bit at a time and see if we can make it work. All right, I think we've got it bent. Twisted is about as close as I can get it for now. Next thing I got to do is figure out my notch so it fits right around the bottom of that little fender flare piece. All right, so one of the, I guess, a good lesson to learn, not just in fabrication, but in everything really, is to not be afraid to walk away from a mistake, no matter how much time you've spent making it. And I made a mistake. I messed up this tube for this fender flare when I was trying to twist it to get the end to come together. Let me show you. If you look from here, it looks fine, everything looks okay, it kind of drops down off the table, but if I pick it up and look here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but this tube has definitely got an arc to it, and I don't want that on my fender flare. So fortunately, I didn't really spend a lot of time making this tube, and I did something important that everybody should be doing when they're bending tube is I took notes. If you guys see right here, I wrote a bunch of stuff down on what I was doing, so it made making a duplicate tube pretty easy, and so I've already got that done, and I'll set it up here next to the original one, and you can see I've gone ahead and done this notch on the end a little bit different, a little bit nicer, so it fits a little cleaner. Everything else lines up the way it's supposed to, but you can see that the twists on the end are different. This is how far this one needed to come out, and I would have ended up having to twist it a lot more. I know what I did. I got my angles kind of backwards, I guess. The angle measurement was correct, but instead of going off of a flat angle, I was reading from 90 degrees. And so my 22 degrees that should have been from here was 22 from here, and that kind of made it backwards or just the wrong direction, I guess. So we'll get it tacked on there and see how it looks. Hopefully it fits good, and we'll move on from there. All right, so it fits pretty good, pretty much the way I was hoping it would on there. If you look from the front, you can see that it pretty matches. I guess it's out a little bit on the bottom. I can tweak that a little bit. Up here, looks pretty good. I haven't decided if this is going to be a permanent thing or just a temporary spacer till I can put a skin on this thing. I may do like instead of doing tube, I may just do a piece of flat strap or something in there that bridges across in a few places. I am going to skin this, and I do want the sheet metal to come right up to the surface and have right up to the edge here, so I want this sitting below the surface of these two. So I'll have to adjust that a little bit. That was just a temporary spacer just to stick in there to get it to hold things in place, but looks pretty good. I think I kind of want to see what it's going to look like with a tire in there. So there it is with the tire stuffed in there. In case you're curious, that is a 42 1557 or 1517 on a 17-inch beadlock wheel that I actually made those beadlocks myself. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty good. I was hoping to use this to kind of close up the front of that wheel well a little bit. I did move this rear axle backwards about 6 inches or so. So that's part of why the wheel opening had to be quite as big as it was. Yeah, looks really good. I'm really pleased with that. I think it's going to look pretty killer when it's all smoothed in there and blended. You can see the tire still sticks out just a little bit from the edge of the fender. This would be about right there. Good. I think this is going to look really good when it's all finished. The next thing on this is going to be putting the sheet metal in. I'm hoping to be able to do this with one piece of sheet metal. This area here is going to get a little tricky. I think I can do it. We'll see, I guess. We'll just figure it out. The first thing is to start with some cardboard, just like most every other thing we do here. I'm going to go ahead and end this video off here, you guys. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you're seeing, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Shoot me a comment down below if you have any questions. Until then, and in the meantime, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and get out there and build something.